Hello, we are back for lesson number 2, and I'm not quite centered, but that should be okay. There we go, maybe a little better. But anyways, the title for today's lesson is Kindness Repaid. And then we have our lesson theme, Joshua repaid Rahab's kindness by saving her life. Then we have our key verse. Put on, therefore, vows of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering. You find part of that verse in Colossians chapter 3, verse 12. Our lesson objective. Learners will conclude that Joshua was kind to Rahab because Rahab was kind to the spies. Bible principle. God has a special blessing for those who help his people. Lesson application. I learned that Jesus was kind to Rahab because of her kindness. I will be careful to return kindness shown to me. I will remember that God rewards kindness. God likes it when we help each other. I'm going to go ahead and read the paragraph it gives me, titled Rescue of Rahab. And we're going to be looking at the book of Joshua, chapter 2, and chapter 6, verses 22 through 25. So we're going to read the whole, this lesson is based on the whole chapter of 2, and some of the verses in chapter 6. When Joshua sent spies to Jericho to find out the state of affairs, the spies entered the city and came to a harlot's house. Her name was Rahab. Rahab was leading a wicked and unclean life. She hid the spies because she knew that the authorities would be seeking them. She was an adulterer. However, she was aware of the power of God. She did what she could to protect the spies and took them to the top of her roof, where she hid them with stalks of flax. Rahab made a confession of faith in the God of Israel. She pleaded for the deliverance of her loved ones. The Israelites told Rahab she and her family would be saved. They told her to place a scarlet cord in her window. God protected Rahab and her family when judgment came to Jericho. And now we'll get to our devotional, titled with the verse, Known by Your Actions. Even a child is known by his doings, whether his work be pure and whether it be right. You find that verse in Proverbs chapter 20, verse 11. Which now gets us to our new words. Spy. A person who watches someone or something without being seen. Flax. A plant grown to provide fibers for weaving into cloths. Bowels of mercy. Tender feelings towards others. Humbleness of mind. Thinking first of others. Meekness. Power under control. Long-suffering. Not getting angry too fast or for the wrong reason. Which now gets us to our story time, which is our Bible lesson. They give me the, I just realized the visuals were out of order. But anyways, after Moses led the people of Israel out of Egypt, they spent 40 years in the wilderness. So, here is the area. So they were in Egypt. Here's a wilderness. And over here is Jericho, which is eventually where they're going to be. So you can see that. Finally, they were ready to capture the land God had promised them. Moses died, and God appointed a new leader, Joshua. Joshua knew there would be a battle before the Israelites could capture their land. That was meant for them. God chose it for them, I should say. He sent 2 spies across the river to the city of Jericho. A spy quietly looks at things without telling what he sees. Remember our game of I Spy? So you say, I spy something blue, and the kids would have to guess, which obviously I have a blue shirt. I was looking at these Sunday school chairs. I have blue and yellow chairs, and right now you don't see the chairs because the video is facing toward me. But anyways, we looked carefully to try to find what I described. The job of the 2 spies was to see the best way for the Israelites to enter and capture the land God had promised them. They secretly entered Jericho. They wanted to remember everything about the city so that they could report to Joshua. So they had to memorize everything they saw and where the weak points are and what strong areas are too. So they had to memorize everything in their heads. The spies stayed in the house of a woman named Rahab. This woman had not lived for God. However, she had heard about the God of Israel. She remembered hearing that he had led his people across the Red Sea on dry ground. She decided to trust this God and help his people. Then the king of Jericho heard that Israelites were inside his city walls. He sent soldiers to search for them. Rahab hid the men on her roof, on her flat roof under some slacks of flax. Flax is a tall plant that is cut and laid out to dry. When dried, it is pulled apart into long strings and woven into cloth. The spies were well hidden under the dry flax. The soldiers soon left to search outside the city. With the soldiers gone, Rahab came to the spies on her rooftop. Let's see. So her house was supposed to be in the wall, but they have it shown on top of the wall. So here's the flax, the plant. And that's a roof. There's a window, and you can see this red string. That's Rahab there. I think it says Rahab hides spies. Anyways, so there it is. She understood that God planned to help the Israelites capture her city. Rahab asked the men to save her and her family. The spies agreed. They told Rahab to hang a red cord out her window. When the Israelites attacked the city, the kind woman then helped them escape. They climbed out the window of her house and down the city wall. They hid on a nearby mountain until the soldiers gave up looking for them. They then reported back to the leader, which is Joshua. When Joshua and his people captured Jericho, Rahab and her family were given safety. Rahab married an Israelite man and became the great-grandmother of David. Rahab's kindness was rewarded by God. So whenever they were going to attack the city, they went to that house and had them come out or spared them. I assume they climbed down the rope. I would have to read it up to know for sure. But they were safely removed before they did anything to the city. But that concludes our lesson for today. Hopefully you guys learned something or got your minds refreshed. Hopefully you guys will come back again for another video. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. That just notifies you whenever I have a video posted. And that's all I've got for you guys. But thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys will come back again. Thanks.